Legend of Yufei, Chapter 60.
Even before the arrest itself, the source gives us this feeling of doom almost.
Yeah, there's this strange incident. Yu Fei is crossing the Yangtze River, and suddenly this gust of wind, or maybe the text hints at some kind of river monster, snatches his spear.
Not just any spear, right? This is his famous Lishwan spear.
His prized weapon, gone.
Ugh.
It's classic foreshadowing, a sign that fate or maybe politics has turned against him.
The source says he actually sighed, like he knew.
He apparently recognized it, felt his luck had run out. He tried to travel discreetly after that for a few days, maybe hoping to just disappear for a bit.
That wasn't going to happen, not once the order was out.
No way. Near Pingyang, he gets intercepted. 2 Imperial Guard commanders, Feng Zong and Feng Zhao, plus about 20 guards. They've got the decree.
And this decree, it wasn't exactly based on facts, was it?
Oh, not at all. It was a political hit piece dressed up as a legal document. The charges were designed to sound plausible, but were really just poison.
Like what specifically?
Okay, so first, holding high office but failing the country. Second, just sitting idle, refusing to move troops. Third, and this was really aimed at the soldiers' loyalty, reducing military rations.
Ouch. That would turn soldiers against him.
Exactly. And fourth, allowing his troops to loot. It's classic playbook, really. You can't attack his victory, so you invent these, minor corruption charges to destroy his reputation.
And this is where it gets intense, because Yufei wasn't traveling alone. He had his general, Wang Heng, with him, a very loyal general.
Fiercely loyal. Wang Heng is the kind of loyal soldier who doesn't stop to calculate the odds. He sees the guards, hears the charges, and just reacts.
What do?
He raises his copper club, threatens the Imperial Guard commanders right there. He starts yelling about their recent victories, reminding them they just beat 1 million Jin soldiers at Soxian Town. He literally can't believe they're arresting Yufei now.
Wait, hold on. He threatens Imperial Guards carrying an Imperial decree. Even if it's fake, that's treason, isn't it?
It's absolutely treason, no question. But it's pure loyalty driving him. He's defending his commander.
And Yufei, what does he do?
Yufei sees immediately where this is going. Wang Heng is about to get himself killed, maybe start a rebellion. So to stop him, Yufei shouts at him, tells him to stand down. And then Yufei does something drastic. He pulls out his own sword, tries to kill himself right there on the spot. Self-immolation to prove his loyalty and clear his name.
Oh my God. He had to be stopped.
Yeah, 4 of his own house guards grabbed him, stopped him just in time. It's this terrible, clarifying moment. Yufei is showing loyalty to the emperor, even as the emperor's decrees arresting him falsely.
But his attempt to save his own name, his honor, it costs Wang Heng everything.
Exactly. While Wang Heng is sort of kneeling there, stunned or defeated, one of the Imperial Guard commanders, Feng Zong, strikes him down. Just like that. The other officers join in.
So Wang Heng dies right there.
Right there. The text says, this day his head splattered blood at Pingyang. A hero who fought his whole life killed by his own side. Brutal.
It's just awful. What happens next after that demonstration?
Well, the immediate resistance is over. Yufei, probably in shock, manages to ask for one thing, a coffin for Wang Heng. And they grant him that.
A small mercy.
A very small one. Because then Qin Hui clamps down. Hard. He sends out secret orders to all local officials. No travel allowed, no boats on the rivers. Everyone moving needs to be scrutinized.
Why? To prevent escape or rescue?
Both, probably. They wanted Yufei completely isolated. They put him in a prisoner cart and shipped him off to the Dali Temple prison in Linen. Total secrecy.
Okay, so the physical resistance is crushed. Now Qin Hui needs the system to finish the job.
Right. He needs the legal system, or at least the appearance of it, to provide the final stamp of, well, not legitimacy, but authority. And this brings us to the interrogation phase.
And the man right in the crosshairs of this whole mess, Zhu Sonwei, the Chief Justice of the Dali Temple. He's the one who has to make this stick legally.
That's him. And Qin Hui doesn't leave it to chance. He issues a fake decree, specifically ordering Zhu Sanwei, the Chief Justice himself, to personally handle the interrogation.
So it wasn't just a regular case assigned to him, it was forced on him.
Absolutely forced. They needed the highest legal authority in that court to be the one questioning Yufei for appearances.
So Yufei is brought before Zhu Sanwei. How does Yufei handle it? Does he break? Does he rage?
No, his defense is actually quite methodical, respectful even, but firm. He treats it like a real legal proceeding, almost daring them to follow actual legal standards.
So when Zhu Sanwei asks about the first charge, the sitting idle one.
Yufei just lays out the facts. He doesn't yell. He says, look, I just defeated over 1 million Jin soldiers. We were winning, poised for a final victory, until I was recalled to Zuxian town. To 10 horses. Unbelievably.
He had proof. Witnesses.
He names them. He says, go ask Marshal Han Shizhong, ask Zhang Xin, ask Lu Qi. They were there. They know we were about to win.
Wow. Calling their bluff. Knowing they couldn't possibly call those marshals to testify against Qin Hu's plot.
Exactly. It puts the injustice right out in the open. But it's the second charge.
Yeah.
The one about reducing rations, where the whole case just completely unravels.
How so?
Yufei stresses his relationship with his men. He says he treated them like a father treats his sons. That's why they were so loyal. Then he asks the killer question. Okay, if I reduce rations, whose rations did I reduce? Name them.
Demanding specifics. Because there were none.
Well, they had one. The accuser is named. A sub-officer called Wang Jun. Clearly someone Qin Hui's people put up to it.
And Yufei jumps on this.
Immediately. He points out the sheer absurdity of it. He asks Zhao Sanwei, how is it possible? I had 13 large camps at Xerxian town. Over 300,000 men. And you're telling me I only reduced rations for this one guy, Wang Jun?
It makes no sense. Logically, it's impossible.
It's transparently false. The accusation itself proves it's a setup.
Okay, so the evidence is flimsy, maybe non-existent. The key accusation is illogical. Zhu Sanwei, the Chief Justice, he's a legal professional. He must see this immediately.
Oh, he sees it all right. The text says he instantly suspects Qin Hu's scheme. He knows this is a frame-up by a vicious minister, Evelina Da. He gets it.
So why doesn't he just throw the case out? If he's the Chief Justice, can't he say, this is nonsense, case dismissed?
Legally? Maybe.
Yeah.
Politically? Absolutely not. Dismissing the charges wouldn't just be a legal ruling. It would be a direct challenge to Qian Hui, the most powerful man at court, someone who clearly has the emperor's backing for this.
So law and politics are completely entangled here.
Totally. It's not about justice anymore. It's about power. And this puts Zhu Sanwei in an absolutely agonizing position. This is the ethical crux of his story.
He hears Yufei, he knows the truth, and his conscience starts screaming.
The source describes his dilemma perfectly. He thinks, okay, if I go along with this, if I convict Yufei, my conscience is destroyed. I'll be cursed, spat upon for 10,000 generations. History will remember me as the corrupt judge who killed a hero.
A terrible legacy. But the other option?
Defy Qin Hui. That means immediate ruin, loss of position, maybe his life, certainly danger for his family. He's trapped. The text uses the term hang, Jin Tui Ling Nan, caught between advancing and retreating, an impossible choice.
So Wang Heng chose one kind of courage, physical defiance, dying instantly. What does Zhu Sanwei choose?
He chooses a different kind of courage, maybe moral courage. He opts for resignation. He refuses to be complicit. He decides to save his integrity, his soul, even if it means losing everything else, his job, his status, his safety.
How does he do it? Does he write a fiery letter, confront Qin Hui?
No. And this is what's so powerful. It's a silent protest. He performs an act the text calls yin, guaguangui, literally hanging up his official hat and returning to seclusion.
He just quits.
He does more than quit. He goes into his office, presumably after the interrogation, and he just leaves the symbols of his power there, his official seals, his ceremonial cap, the futu, his ivory tablet of rank, the yan shanjing. He just leaves them on the desk.
Wow, no explanation.
None mentioned. He simply abandons the office, the power, the complicity. It's an act of total refusal, communicated through absence. He's saying, I won't do it. This office is tainted.
That silence is louder than any letter he could have written.
It really is. It's basically telling Qin Hui and the whole system, your power has no moral authority over me. I will not participate. It's profound.
And then he just disappears.
Before dawn, around 5 a.m., he slips out of the city through the Yongjin Gate. Just him, his immediate family, and a few trusted servants. He gives up everything. Power, wealth, comfort, security, all for principle.
What happens when they find out? When Qin Hui finds out?
The next morning, the court clerks come in, find the seals and cap on the desk, and realize the Chief Justice is gone. They report it straight to Qin Hui.
And Qin Hui's reaction?
Pure rage, according to the source. First, fury that Zhu Sanhui dared to defy him and, maybe more importantly, dared to implicitly judge him. Then, immediate action.
He lets him go. Or hunts him down.
Hunts him down. He instantly orders warrants sent out to every prefecture, every county, arrests Zhu Sanhui on site. The price for Zhu Sanhui's integrity isn't just losing his job, it's becoming a fugitive.
What Qin Hui did next. How did he fill that vacuum so fast and, frankly, so brutally with people who would do his bidding?
Okay, so let's look at how that actually worked. Qin Hui needs this done quickly, doesn't he? Can't let any opposition form.
Speed is crucial, so he doesn't go for some respected legal scholar. No, he secretly calls in two much lower-ranking guys.
Who were they?
Mokisi, who was a Tongpan, sort of a local administrator in Hangzhou, and Luo Ruji, his deputy, Tomzi, not exactly high-flying judicial figures.
And the text describes them. How does it put it? Moving around Qin Hui's door like a dog. That paints a picture.
It really does. It suggests they were, eager for advancement, maybe a bit desperate, and certainly ready to be loyal to Qin Hui personally.
So what were Qin Hui's orders? I imagine they weren't subtle.
Not at all. The sources are very blunt. He tells them, you're replacing Zhu Sanwei, effective immediately. Mokiksi, you're the new Chief Justice. Luo Ruji, you're the deputy.
And their job description.
Simple and horrifying. Severely torture. Yifei, the text, uses the phrase, yank Sing Kuko, get him to confess, secure the guilty verdict, and, quote, take his life.
So the verdict was baked in from the start. It wasn't a trial. It was just arranging the paperwork for an execution.
Pretty much. And their response, this is chilling. They basically say, it's up to us to make sure he dies. That's what the source records. Donson leta jishi.
Well, that's not just following orders. That's enthusiastically signing up for murder. So this handover of power, was it really that fast?
Seems like it. Within hours, maybe even less, these two are installed in the Dali Temple. The whole system is now geared towards vengeance and political loyalty, not justice.
Okay, so the new court convenes. Yufei is brought in. He must have noticed immediately that Zhu Sanwei, the honest judge, was gone.
Yes, and then comes this moment of really dark irony. He asks who the new judges are.
And he recognizes them.
He does. He realizes these are the exact same officials he himself had previously punished, beaten, actually, the text says, Uwe Dikusishi, 40 strokes for incompetence, for messing up military supplies.
Oh, that's crucial. Qin Hui didn't just pick loyalists. He picked men with a personal grudge against Yufei.
It's a perfect storm for corruption, isn't it? A personal vendetta layered onto political orders. It guarantees they'll be ruthless.
And Yufei gets it instantly. He says something like, he regretted not killing them back then because now he knows he's gonna die at the hands of these two thieves.
A chilling realization. So the trial begins. They immediately try to break him, order him to kneel, call him a rebel.
But he refuses, right? He stands on his record, his merit.
He does. So they read the charge. It's based on an accusation from one of his own subordinates, Wang Jun.
What was the accusation?
That Yufei was holding back troops and falsely reporting on rations, essentially incompetence and potential disloyalty.
And Yufei just shoots this down with logic, doesn't he? How can he be short on rations commanding, 30,000 men in 13 large camps?
Exactly. His military logic is sound. But, facts are irrelevant here.
So how do they even get him to comply with court procedure, like kneeling?
They have to pull out the big gun, the imperial decree, the Shengzi, just flashing that forces him to kneel. It shows this isn't about law. It's about raw imperial authority channeled through Qin Hui.
Okay, so Yufei then demands to face his accuser, Wang Jun. Standard procedure, even in a kangaroo court, you'd think.
You would think. But Mokiksi comes up with this utterly bizarre excuse.
This is the jellyfish part, isn't it?
Yes. He says Wang Jun can't testify because supposedly when Wang Jun got to the capital, he ate too much jellyfish, and, basically swelled up and died.
He ate too much jellyfish and exploded. Seriously, that's their official story.
That's what the source claims, they said. The sheer absurdity just underlines that this isn't about finding truth. It's about steamrolling to the preordained conclusion.
They couldn't even be bothered to invent something believable.
Nope. So with no confession and Yufei still defiant, they just tell him, look, just confess to the small crime of capital punishment. Make it easy on everyone.
As if treason is a small crime.
Yeah.
When he refuses again, that's when the physical torture starts.
That's right. Phase 1, 40 heavy blows. He's bleeding, he faints, they revive him. But he still won't confess to treason.
He's incredibly resilient.
He is. So the officials, Mokiksi and Luo Ruji, they escalate. They use sandalwood finger clamps, Tanu Zanzi shattering his finger bones. Standard brutal stuff for the time, but still.
But it doesn't work on Yufei.
It doesn't. And this is where things get even darker. Because now these judges are under pressure from Qin Hui. They haven't delivered the confession. Their own necks might be on the line.
So standard torture isn't enough. They need something more.
Exactly. So they decide to invent new tortures specifically for him. This is extraordinary. They plan for the next day something called peeling hemp interrogation, Pimowen, and skin stripping torture, Lopia.
They invented new tortures overnight.
Yes, the text says they spent the night preparing, crushing hemp fibers, boiling fish glue until it was thick and sticky. Uyujao Odelancho. It's methodical, creative sadism born out of political necessity.
This shows just how far they were willing to go. It wasn't just following orders anymore. It was active participation in cruelty.
It's personalized vendetta meeting political panic. They need that confession, or perhaps just a broken man, by morning.
So the next day, faced with these, frankly, terrifying new methods, Yufei seems to break. He asks for a brush and paper to write his confession.
It looks like capitulation, but what he actually writes isn't a confession at all. It's this incredibly powerful document, a recantation or zazwang.
And what does it say?
It's his final testament. He lays out his entire career, his loyalty from day one, defeating huge Jin armies, putting down rebels like Yang Mo, the victories at Oxhead Mountain, the Yellow River.
He lists his accomplishments.
Yes, a defiant record of service. He mentions his bitterness about being recalled by those 12 golden plaques.
Right, the imperial orders that stopped his successful campaign against the Jurchens just when he was potentially winning.
Exactly. And he ends it with this raw fury, swearing that even as a ghost, he will come back and kill Mokixi, Luoruji, and the man behind it all, Qin Hui.
Wow. So, not exactly the confession they were hoping for? How did they react?
Pure rage. They immediately order the new torture. They smear the boiling fish glue onto his skin, then press the crushed hemp fibers into it.
That sounds horrific.
And then when he still refuses to confess treason, they rip the hemp off. The text says it took skin and flesh, with it lian pide ru kweli kwai. He faints again from the agony.
Unbelievable cruelty. But when they revive him this time, he says something crucial, doesn't he? Something unintended.
Yes. This is the turning point in their strategy. He doesn't cry out about his own pain. Instead, he cries out something like, "My sons, Yu Yun and Zhang Jin, they must not ruin my lifelong loyal name."
And the judges hear this. Why is that so significant?
Because they know who Yu Yun and Zhang Xian are. These aren't just sons, they're famed warriors in their own right. The text describes them as having bravery that cannot be withstood by 10,000 men. Wan Fu Bu Dang Ziang.
So the judges suddenly realize, if we execute Yufei, his incredibly powerful and loyal sons might just raise an army and come after us, and after Qin Hu.
Precisely. The political calculus shifts instantly. Killing Yufei might trigger a military revolt that could destabilize everything Qin Hui has built. The personal vendetta suddenly looks risky.
So torture stops.
The focus changes completely. Now, it's not about breaking Yufei, it's about neutralizing his sons. They switch tactics.
Ow.
They pretend to feel sorry for him, feign compassion. They say, "Look, we understand we can help clear your name, but we need your family here to support your case."
It's a trap.
A blatant trap. They manipulate the weakened, tortured Yufei into writing a letter asking Yu Yin and Zhang Xian to come to the capital to present some kind of defense petition.
Does he fall for it?
It seems he does, perhaps delirious from pain, perhaps desperate for any hope. He writes the letter.
And they take this letter straight to Qin Hui,
who is apparently delighted. This solves his problem perfectly. He gets rid of the general and his powerful heirs in one move, preventing any future challenge.
But he doesn't just send Yufei's letter, does he?
No, that would look suspicious. He has a skilled forger rewrite it completely.
Making it sound like good news.
Exactly. The forged letter sounds like an official summons for promotion. Something like, "You and Zhang Xian should quickly come to the capital to await promotion and official appointments," luring them in with promises of reward.
A clean sweep, Yi Wang Dejin, as the source puts it. Eliminate the entire potential opposition faction.
That was clearly the goal. It shifted from punishing one man to decapitating a whole network of loyalty.
And then there's that final detail, which is just so chillingly bureaucratic and premeditated.
The prison cells.
Yes. Qin Hui orders the immediate construction of 10 specific, custom-built prison cells just for Yufei's family and key subordinates who might come.
And the names he gives these cells, they're not just numbers, they're characters loaded with meaning. Thunder, fierce, execute, command, decree, star, dipper, radiant, literacy, chapter.
Using terms like thunder, decree, command, alongside celestial terms like star and dipper.
Yeah.
It's like he's claiming absolute, almost cosmic authority over their fate, isn't it?
It really symbolizes the totalizing nature of the state's power in this political purge. This wasn't just imprisonment, it was erasure under the guise of imperial order. Yu Fei himself, he's locked up in Linen. Now, you'd normally assume, right, for a political prisoner this huge, especially one who crossed Prime Minister Chen Hui.
Yeah, immediate torture, isolation, the works.
Right. But the sources actually show something quite different, a kind of secret support system that kicked in almost immediately. What did they find?
Well, what's fascinating is where the resistance starts. It's not with weapons or protests. It starts with cash.
Money.
Money. We read about two wealthy scholars, Wang Neng and Li Zi. The text calls them reading gentlemen.
Okay, so educated, principled guys.
Exactly. Men of principle, likely appalled by the injustice. They saw Yu Fei was innocent, and, well, they used their resources. Cleverly.
And not just complaining about it, they understood how things worked, maybe, using money to sort of push back?
Precisely. They funneled quite significant funds to help the marshal while he was in custody. And look, this wasn't just charity.
No.
It was targeted. It was about subverting the process, using bribery, essentially. And the immediate result. The jailers got the money, and they started improving his conditions.
And there's proof, isn't there? Horrifying proof of the violence, but also the secret help. The sources mention the jailers tending his wounds.
Yes, specifically rod wounds. Clear evidence he was brutally beaten. But then, almost immediately, that punishment was being mitigated. Private funds, loyal intervention. They were applying medicine, trying to ease his suffering.
Wow. So torture and care happening almost side by side?
It's a stark image. And it wasn't just a bribery. There was also official empathy, which you could argue was even more dangerous for the regime.
How so?
Well, the prison official in charge, a man named Ni Wan, he's described very simply as a good person. He saw Yu Fei for who he was, a war hero betrayed by, quote, a cunning minister, meaning Qin Hui.
Wait a minute. If Qin Hui himself is driving this persecution, how does a mid-level official like Ni Wan get away with helping Yu Fei, ensuring he was well-served and safe? Isn't that just asking for trouble? Career suicide. Or worse.
That's the really interesting question, isn't it? It sort of points to the limits of even Qin Hui's power.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't as absolute as he wanted.
Tracks in the system.
Exactly. Ni Yuan was, physically part of the government structure, but morally, he seems to have opted out. He risked a lot, not by shouting from the rooftops, but by this quiet integrity, using a small bit of power for protection, not persecution.
So it really challenges that idea that absolute power just instantly silences everyone. Loyalty found a way, even inside the prison walls.
It did. It's a key thing to remember when we look at times like these, periods of intense political pressure where fear is supposed to rule everything.
And that quiet internal resistance.
It's often just as vital as the more visible kind. Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the quiet defiance inside Linen. But now let's shift north to Banli. We meet General Zhang Bao, one of Yu Fei's loyal subordinates.
Right.
He hears the marshal's been recalled from the front line at Zuxianzhen, and his gut reaction. Pure dread.
His instinct screamed danger. The sources say he was unsettled, couldn't sit still, couldn't rest.
He knew this wasn't just military orders.
No, he sensed the political danger immediately. He knew it was likely about Qin Hui consolidating power, and he acted fast, decisively.
Choosing loyalty over his career.
Totally. He felt, the text says, confined and restricted by being a general in what he saw as a corrupt system. The rank, the seal, it all felt like a trap.
So he makes this incredibly dramatic gesture. He just hangs his general's seal on a beam.
Yep. Qin walks away from it all. Instant resignation, a massive statement about where his loyalty truly lay.
That rejection of status, of power, that's huge.
It's a complete break from state service. He takes his family, his wife, Hong Shi, their son Zhang Ying, and moves them straight back to Yu Fei's own hometown, Tangyin.
And his wife was on board with this?
Completely. Her perspective is actually quoted, and it's pretty amazing. She says something like, "No office, light body, having sons, satisfied in all things."
Wow. That's powerful. Especially then when rank meant security.
It really is. It's prioritizing personal integrity, family, loyalty to a person over loyalty to a potentially corrupt state.
A different kind of security.
You could say that. It affirms that their allegiance is to Yu Fei and his family, not the court that's betraying him. But a Arriving in Tangim, and it wasn't exactly peaceful.
No, they get to the manor, and Yufei's wives, Li Shi and Gongxi, they basically confirm the worst fears. Yufei and his eldest son, Yu Yun, they were summoned to the capital about a month before. And since then, nothing. Just silence.
Complete silence. The wives describe themselves as living in constant fear, just agonizing anxiety.
Waiting for news that never comes.
And this is the moment for Zhang Bao. He realizes resigning, being free, isn't enough. Not when the family is trapped in this awful uncertainty.
Right. He needs answers.
He needs truth. So his immediate reaction is to volunteer. He tells the family, essentially, I have to go. I'll go to Linen and find out what's happening.
Just yeah, seek out information.
Yeah. But this isn't just a trip. He's basically signing up for espionage. High-risk intelligence gathering against the most powerful man in the country.
So Zhang Bao heads south, alone, on this incredibly dangerous mission, fueled by loyalty and desperation. But he hits a roadblock almost straight away. A big one.
A state-imposed one. At the great river mouth. The crossing point.
The river itself.
Yeah, the sources are clear. Prime Minister Qin Hui had banned the river. No boats allowed. Period.
Wow. Just shut down a major transport route like that.
Imagine the power. Tells you the scale of the lockdown. So crossing isn't just difficult, it's illegal. Treason is potentially.
It turns a simple crossing into this life or death gamble. Okay, so what does he do?
He manages to find one person willing to take the risk. A lone fisherman, Weiyang Kongshan. He agrees to hide Zhang Bao, wait till midnight, then ferry him across.
Okay, bit of hope.
Yeah, Weiyang offers him some wine, some beef. Zhang Bao's exhausted from the journey, right?
Sure.
So he gratefully accepts, has several bowls of wine, and understandably dozes off.
And then
the story takes a sharp turn, a real twist that shows just how paranoid things were. Zhang Bao wakes up and finds he's been tied up, bound hand and foot with the boat's heavy anchor rope.
What? The fisherman tied him up? Why? Was he a bandit? Or maybe working for Qin Hui?
That's what you'd think, but it seems more like maybe a test. A really high-stakes test of principle, disguised as betrayal.
How so?
Because Zhang Bao, waking up, tied, facing death. He doesn't beg. He doesn't offer money. His first thought, his outcry, is pure desperation. He can't die now, not without knowing what happened to Marshal Yufei. And in that moment of despair, he reveals who he is. I am Yu Marshal's subordinate, Zhang Bao.
That declaration of loyalty, that changes everything.
Instantly. Yu Yang immediately cries out, starts apologizing profusely, unties him. The whole dynamic just flips. Ambush becomes alliance in a heartbeat.
Incredible. So what was Ouyang's real deal?
Turns out he wasn't working for the state at all. He was anti-establishment. He tells Zhang Bao he runs a private merchant operation smuggling, basically.
Okay.
And he does it precisely because he despises the government. He talks about the cunning officials ruling the court and how they're harming loyal citizens.
So by revealing his loyalty to Yufei, Zhang Bao essentially proved they were on the same side, against the same enemy.
Exactly. Shared enemy, shared cause in that moment.
And this chance encounter, born out of betrayal and then trust, it gives Zhang Bao vital intel, doesn't it? Information he couldn't have gotten otherwise.
Critical intelligence. It confirms the sheer brutality of the purge. Yu Yang gives him 3 key pieces of news.
What were they?
First, he confirms Yufei was arrested, specifically at Pingjiang Road, so location confirmed.
Okay.
Second, and this is brutal, another loyal subordinate, Wang Heng, wasn't just arrested, he was killed, cut down by an imperial envoy. Ooh, wow. So summary execution, this wasn't just about arrest warrants. They were killing loyalists on the spot.
Precisely. It confirms this is a systematic purge. Loyalty is potentially fatal, instantly.
And the third piece?
The third piece ties it all together. Wu Yang confirms that this violence, the killing of Wang Heng, is the specific reason Qin Hui shut down the river.
So the travel ban wasn't just general security. It was a direct response to that killing, to stop the news spreading.
Exactly. It was a lockdown. Contain the information, contain the fear, maybe prevent copycat resistance. It shows the scope of the crackdown.
Okay, so armed with this truly terrifying information, Zhang Bao finally makes it across the river and heads to the capital, Linen. Still hoping for more details. Still hoping to find out about the marshal's condition, yes. He gets into the city, searches secretly, but then he hits a different kind of wall.
What happened?
The well just runs dry. He encounters the ultimate effect of Qin Hui's crackdown. Absolute silence.
Silence.
Complete silence. Outside the city, maybe on the fringes, someone like Wu Yang felt free enough to talk, to resist. But in the capital, right under the nose of the regime,
Too dangerous.
far too dangerous. The fear was palpable. Zhang Bao tried to ask around discreetly, but nobody would talk to him. Nobody. They were terrified of bringing trouble on themselves.
So after risking death by drowning, death by betrayal, crossing a banned river, the intelligence mission basically ends there. In the capital itself, he gets nothing.
Nothing more. The only solid information came from the outsider, the anti-establishment ferryman. It really highlights how effective the government's control and fear tactics were within the center of power.
General Zhang Bao.
You really have to feel the atmosphere Qin Hu created back then. Yufei was, well, a hero to the people.
Immensely popular. He was successful against the Jurchen invaders, but that success actually threatened Qin Hui's power, his whole political approach, which favored peace, some would say appeasement.
So Qin Hu didn't just want him gone. He wanted him erased. His memory, his supporters, everything.
Exactly. And what's really striking in the sources is how toxic, how paranoid the climate was. It's made terrifyingly clear. Just whispering the name Yu, that could be a death sentence. Instantly.
Wow, just the name.
Yeah, the fear was absolute. So when we talk about Zhang Bao's mission, he wasn't just risking his career or status, he was risking immediate, violent death just by heading towards that prison.
Okay, so where does he even begin? How do you start something like that in that kind of environment?
Well, it starts almost by accident. He's in a ruined temple very early morning, and he overhears two beggars talking. That's his first lead.
From beggars. Not exactly high-level intelligence.
No, but it shows how fear permeated every level of society. One beggar is sort of lamenting, saying, being an official like Marshal Yu, pointless. Better to be a beggar.
What was the phrase? Something like, if we can beg for a bowl, we eat. If not, we fast. It's the cynical take on power, like why bother?
But the other beggar, he knows better.
Right. He immediately warns the first one, basically says, shut up. Saying the name Yu will get you killed. And that right there is the signal Zhang Bao hears.
Okay, so he's got confirmation. What does he do?
He acts fast and pretty violently. He grabs one of them, threatens him, demands answer.
Or forces the information out.
Yeah. The beggar, his name's given as Ayer, spills everything, confirms the worst. The marshal, his son Yu Yun, General Zhang Xin, they were tricked, arrested, and locked up in the Dali Temple.
And Ayer repeats the warning about the name Yu.
He does. Confirms the absolute terror surrounding the name. Anyone mentioning it gets arrested, killed, no questions asked.
So Zhang Bao hears this terrible news, confirming his fears, and then he pays the beggar.
Immediately. Gives him about 2 liang of silver.
2 liang, that sounds like quite a bit for a beggar back then. It's a huge amount, like enough money to live on for months, maybe even a year. It shows Zhang Bao's, his commitment, his resources, but also his urgency. He needed that info now.
Okay, so information confirmed. Now he needs a way in. This seems like the impossible part.
Right, infiltration. And this is where his ingenuity comes in. He doesn't try to use force or rank. He transforms himself.
How?
He goes to a used clothing shop. A guy buys old clothes, straw sandals, the whole look of a poor, common person.
And he gets props too, right? Food and wine.
Yeah, he prepares Xinjiao snacks and wine, puts them in a basket. He's crafting a whole persona, a former subordinate, down on his luck, maybe sick, just wanting to bring a last meal to his old master.
He's going from general-in-chief to this.
Total transformation. He needs to look completely harmless, non-threatening, so he goes to the prison gate, finds the jailer, the Jinzi.
It scars the performance.
Exactly. He plays the part, bent over, maybe coughing a bit, talks about wanting to deliver this food out of private feelings, just a personal gesture of respect for his old master.
And crucially, he offers money.
A bribe, yes. 3 or 4 liang of silver this time. Another significant sum.
Okay, hold on. This is supposed to be the most secure political prison, holding Qin Hui's biggest enemy. Why would a jailer risk everything for just a few ounces of silver? Is the system that corrupt?
That's a really good question, and the sources suggest, yes, the corruption was the key. But it wasn't just this one jailer being greedy on his own.
There's more to it.
Yeah, it seems 2 higher-up officials named Wang and Li, connected to Qin Hui's faction, had put out the word. They told the staff to occasionally accommodate people associated with the Yu family.
Wait, they wanted visitors. Why? to track them.
That seems to be the implication. Create a small, controlled loophole to see who was still loyal, maybe gather intel. The jailer saw this instruction, saw the bribe, and probably figured, okay, my bosses kind of allow this, I can make some money, the risk is managed.
Okay. So the jailer feels covered, takes the bribe, opens the gate.
The outer gate, yeah. And this is the moment. Zhang Bao is inside. Outside, he was all hunched over, bowing, looking pathetic.
But inside.
The act drops instantly. He stands up straight. The transformation is immediate.
Wow. So the jailer sees this guy suddenly change posture, change demeanor.
And realizes he's been had. This isn't some sick servant. He's been completely deceived. The physical shift is powerful. The disguise was just a tool for access. Underneath, the general was always there.
And Zhang Bao doesn't waste time. He tells him who he is.
Right away. I am Zhang Bao, the general-in-chief of Haoliang. The jailer, as you can imagine, is terrified, hits the ground, starts kneeling, begging for his life.
But Zhang Bao isn't there to punish him, is he?
No, he reassures him quickly, says he's not there for violence, he just needs to see his master. The jailer is now completely compliant.
So the jailer tells him where Yufei is held.
Yes. He explains Qin Hui had these 10 special cells built, named after characters, Lei, Ting, Xi, Hao, and so on. And Yufei, Yu Yin, and Zhang Xin, they're together in the very last one, the Zhang cell.
Just think about that journey for Zhang Bao. From hearing whispers in a ruined temple to now standing inside the most sensitive political prison about to see his commander, all driven by this incredible loyalty.
It really shows the power of that conviction, doesn't it? So he gets to the cell, and it's a strange scene inside.
Oh, so?
Yufei himself is actually sitting, talking relatively calmly with another official, someone called Jailer Ni. Seems Ni might have been sympathetic, or at least professional.
But his son and the other general?
They're in chains. Heavy chains, handcuffs, leg shackles, a stark contrast.
So Zhang Bao enters, sees his master like this.
He kneels, presents the food and wine he brought, and asks the question that's burning inside him. Master, why are you suffering like this? Then he makes his offer.
The escape plan.
Yeah. He says he can help them get out, bust them out, essentially.
But Yufei, he refuses.
Flat out refuses, and his reasoning is key. He says he will not leave without an official imperial decree, an order from the emperor himself.
Why? Why not take the chance?
Because for Yufei, escaping would validate Qin Hui's accusations of treason. It would undermine everything he stood for: loyalty to the Song dynasty, fighting for the state. Leaving would destroy his moral integrity.
So he's choosing principle over survival.
Absolutely. He tells Zhang Bao, basically, I know your heart is loyal, but you need to leave now. Protect Jailer Ni, who let you in. He only accepts a single cup of wine from the meal Zhang Bao brought.
Just one cup, as a gesture.
A gesture of thanks, yes, but a clear signal. I accept your loyalty, but I reject the escape.
And what about Yu Yan and Zhang Xian? They're chained up, facing death too.
They follow Yufei's lead completely. They declare they won't leave if their father, their commander, stays. They invoke loyalty and filial piety, Zhang and Xiao.
So the son stays out of filial duty, the general out of loyalty. None of them will break ranks, even for freedom.
It really drives home this philosophical point the sources seem to emphasize. For them, true freedom wasn't about escaping a physical cell. It was about maintaining their moral compass, their integrity.
They're constant, as the later quote puts it.
Precisely. That integrity was worth more than any 1,000 uses their lives could have had if they escaped. Zhang Bao sees this. He understands. He can't save his master's life.
So what can he do? He made it all the way here.
He has to serve the principle that Yufei represents. He makes one last plea, but Yufei's resolve is clear. Zhang Bao realizes his final act of service, of devotion, needs to happen right here, right now.
And it's drastic.
It's extreme. The source describes it very graphically. He stands up, turns toward the stone wall of the prison cell,
Just
crashes his head against it, deliberately, with full force. It says his skull was shattered, instant death.
oh my God. Just like that, in front of everyone.
In front of Yufei, Yu Yun, Zhang Xian, and Jailer Ni.
The reaction must have been chaos, horror.
Well, yes and no. It's paradoxical. Jailer Ni, Yu Yun, and Zhang Xian immediately start weeping, understandably horrified by the sudden violent sacrifice.
But Yufei.
Yufei laughs, loudly, and shouts, "Good Zhang Bao! Good Zhang Bao!"
Laughs. How? Why would he laugh at that?
It's not laughter at the horror. It's recognition. It's the bridge from the shock to the meaning. Yu Fei sees Zhang Bao's act not just as a tragedy, but as the completion of something.
Completion of what?
Their moral statement. He explains it right then and there. He says that he, his son, and Zhang Xin already embodied 3 of the 4 great virtues: loyalty, Zhang; filial piety, Zhao; and integrity or chastity.
Okay, Zong, Xiao, Ji. What were they missing?
They were missing Yi, righteousness, duty, justice, that sense of doing the right thing, fulfilling one's obligations even at great cost.
And Zhang Bao's suicide provided the Yi.
That's how Yu Fei interprets it. Zhang Bao's extreme act of devotion, sacrificing himself for the principle when he couldn't achieve a physical rescue, completed the set. It proved their cause, the stand, was about these absolute virtues beyond life or death. Zhang, Xiao, Ji, Yi, all 4 now embodied in their collective fate.
So the laughter was philosophical recognition.
Yes, and only after explaining this, after framing Zhang Bao's death within this structure of virtue, only then does Yu Fei himself break down and weep.
Wow, that's incredibly layered. It reframes the suicide entirely, from an act of despair to a final necessary contribution.
Exactly. It becomes a deliberate act reinforcing their shared ideology.
So what happens then? You can't just leave the body of a general there?
No. Yu Fei, regaining his composure, asks jailer Ni to make sure Zhang Bao's body is treated respectfully and buried properly.
And Ni agrees, after witnessing all that.
He does. He's already deeply implicated. He actually works with those 2 officials, Wang and Li, the ones who created the loophole in the first place. They need to manage this situation quietly.
Cover it up, basically.
Right. They arrange a secret burial. At dusk, they put Zhang Bao's body in a coffin, label it, very simply, the coffin of General Zhang of Haoliang, and smuggle it out of the city.
Where do they take him?
He's buried secretly near the West Lake, in a specific spot the source calls the Snail Shell Area, Luo Sikine, a hidden end for a man who reached high rank.
A general who, as the source notes, did not wish to be an official.